This idea that we could have resolved this diplomatically at the start of the war, I think is obviously true. There were people saying that. Now we're in a different position where the Russians do have this buffer in eastern Ukraine that they regard as extremely important to their national security. They are not going to give that up. And so I'm wondering if you were now spearheading an attempt with the authorization of the United States government to try and foster diplomatic resolutions, what do you think would be the most promising approach or approaches to doing that?
Look, I think the situation is, as you say, much harder at the negotiating table than it was a year ago, and vastly, incomparably harder than it was in December 2021. If you gamble and you lose, it's very hard to just make it up. What we really should be seriously speaking with the Russians about is the security arrangements in Europe, including the security arrangements for Ukraine. I don't think there's any chance in the world Crimea is going back to Ukraine under any circumstances. And interestingly, what Ukraine had before 2022 was the option, which it pulled off the table, basically, of giving Russia a long-term lease to the Sevastopol naval base. That's what Yanukovych was negotiating with Russia. Russia wasn't negotiating for or demanding Crimea's return. It was demanding a lease on the long term for its naval base. Now Crimea is lost. Probably the Donbass is lost for practical purposes. I think that if this war goes on, maybe Ukraine is going to end up being a landlocked rump state with a completely unviable economy as well. And by that, I mean that, a lot of people speculate that Russia might go after Odessa, might go after the remaining coastline of Ukraine. I don't know. It's not a prediction. It's just saying that when the battlefield is against you also, the context worsens. What I think would interest Russia in serious negotiations that could preserve and subsequently protect Ukraine is a serious security arrangement with the United States and NATO, in which Biden would utter the words that he should have uttered at the beginning, because they weren't even concession, they were the right thing to do, is to say NATO is not going to enlarge to surround Russia in the Black Sea. It's not going to Ukraine. It's not going to Georgia. That was a terrible idea of George W. Bush Jr. And when Victoria Nuland was his ambassador, George Bush's ambassador to NATO in 2008. It was an awful proposal to have made, and all thinking diplomats, including the U.S. ambassador to Russia at the time, William Burns, now our CIA director, knew that this was completely destabilizing.
Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.